I'm terrible.
Okay. So
I set up my Alexa to remind me.
smart.
See, that's why you should be a Google certified trainer.
All right. Does it show that it's recording on your end? Because mine's just buffering.
Yes. It says it's recording on mine.
Oh.
Kale, is it saying it's recording on yours?
Yep. I just got the little ding. Now it's good.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I will introduce us. And okay, you are here. We're going to talk about Google Sites. We've got 45 minutes planned for you. My name is Melissa Strouth, and I'm one of the tech coaches at the high school. I am also a Google certified trainer for the past 5 years. Becky?
Yeah, I'm Becky McDonald. I am a math teacher at the high school as well. I am also one half of the tech coaches for the high school. And I'm a Google certified trainer for like the last 5 minutes or so. So it's a recent thing. I'm very excited. If you guys want to talk about Google certified trainer, I'm happy to talk to you about it. I just wanted to also say that we both have kids in the district. So we are coming at this as a teacher, as a tech coach, and as a parent. So if you have any questions, let us know.
Yep, we've got 6 between the two of us at 4 different buildings. 5,
yes.
A lot. There's a lot.
5 buildings, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so one of them is a high school. So sorry if you have Sean Egbert in your class. That's my kid. We could talk later. So learning target. So we're modeling this, how you would do this with your students, hypothetically, but we'll also stop and kind of like step back and say, well, this is how we would make this, and this is what I would do with my students. So we want you to see kind of what a synchronous lesson could look like, but also how to learn, Google Sites. So it really has 2 purposes. We will be trying to monitor the chat. So when one of us is talking, the other one is usually watching the chat, hopefully. We'll make sure we do that. I'm just proud I remembered to record. Listen, that's my win for the day. So learning target, by the end of this session, I'll be able to create a Google site that can be shared with students and their families. And just to highlight, why would I want a site? We have Google Classroom. Why would I want a site? Since families can't access Google Classroom, a site is a great complement to share info with families. It's also really great for some other things that we're going to show you later in the presentation.
Sorry, I unmuted and then I didn't click. You want to start talking about the best practices? Then I'll take over,
Yeah.
Melissa.
Yep, I'm on the left. I was waiting for the screen. So best practices. Before we split, because we're going to give you the option of, if you already know how to make a site, we have plans for different kind of paths that you can take, like a choose your own adventure. So you want to make sure, but before you split, we want to make sure everyone has the best practices at the same time. And some of these may not make 100% sense yet, but as we go, I think they'll make a little bit more sense. So the first thing we say is that you got to make sure that it's accessible to everyone when you publish it. So there's certain, sharing permissions that you have to give. Just they're a little easier than if you were doing a doc or a slides or something, but you want to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. Secondly, what we find is that sharing permissions, not just for the site itself, but oftentimes people embed things in it, docs or slides, or they link to them. I see a lot of people have some pretty sweet Bitmoji classrooms, but I also have interacted with their Bitmoji classrooms and their links don't work for me because they haven't shared it correctly. So if you have your Bitmoji classroom embedded in your site and your links aren't shareable, that's a little bit frustrating. So what we recommend is that you have a folder that you put your site's stuff in, and then you set the permissions for folder. So if you're not aware, if you set the permissions for a folder, everything you open within that folder has the same permissions automatically. So that's an easy way, instead of having to, fix things constantly or being, trying to remember, oh, I need to make sure that's accessible via my site. When you just house it in that folder where anyone can view, then you never really kind of have to worry about that problem, which is really nice.
Some other things that we think are best practices are having a student portal and a parent portal on your site. And we'll see that if we get to it at the end. We have some people in here who have beautiful sites. Jasmine Monroe can talk to you guys about that as well if you're talking about making a site for your littles. Also, we want to brainstorm the Bone Bear. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. You want to think about what you're putting on your homepage. You want to make it easily accessible, and you want to really streamline it so kids don't really have to think about where they're going. You don't want them to have a million clicks just to get to one thing. I love tiny URLs, so I don't know if you noticed, but when I shared that presentation today, it was a tiny URL that's customized, and it's great to have a customized tiny URL for your website so that kids don't have to look for it in the Google Classroom necessarily. If it's something easy for them to use that they memorize, all of my kids know my site is tinyurl.com/CHUH-ALG1. It's always that. It's my Instagram, it's my Twitter handle, it's everything that I use. So if you have like a nickname that you use for everything, that's great to make that into your Google site as well. So you would go to tinyurl and you paste your site link in there, and you can create your own URL to use for that. And then finally, I share it everywhere. My site, I constantly tell my kids to go to the site. I constantly have it posted on Instagram. Don't forget to check out the site. And I post on the Google Classroom. Everywhere I can, I send it to them.
Okay, sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties, but I think I'm okay now. So stay with us. So you can stay with us. We are going to walk you through every step of setting up a Google site. So if you've never done it before, you can stay with us. We're going to teach you how to set it up. We're going to teach you how to embed different elements, calendars, slides. And then we're also going to teach you how to preview it and share it. Or your option is, if you're like, oh, I already know how to do this. That's so basic. That's fine. So what we did was created a tiny URL for you to go to. And Becky made this in a Google site so that you can see another use for sites. This is a way to do differentiation or extension with your students. Oh, you're done with this assignment. I've made this other thing for you. And you can choose to learn about how to do student portfolios or graphics with Canva. And we love Canva. It is an amazing graphics design program. Then they have a free teacher upgrade for life, which is pretty sweet. So those are your options. So choose now. If you choose your own adventure, you can always come back to the Meet and ask questions. So the chat is available for that. One of us will be monitoring it, or you can stay with us. And then Becky is going to walk you through step by individual step exactly how we're going to set up a site. So we'll give you, like 2 seconds to decide, because unfortunately we only have 45 minutes. Choose wisely. Yes, Kales, choose wisely.
Okay. Hopefully you made that choice. Okay. The tiny URL you can get to on the presentation. We did put it in there. Melissa, can you also put it in the chat?
Yep.
So if you are staying with us, I want you to stop and I want you to think about your personal learning style. Do you learn best by watching someone do it and then referring to a video and trying it yourself again later? Or do you learn best by watching and doing at the same time? Okay, because you have to make a choice right up front. Are you going to watch us while we create this site and then refer back to the video when you're creating it yourself? Or are you going to watch and do at the same time? I see lots of watch and do. So my watch and do people, I really need you to split your screen. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that you have the meat on one side of your screen and your site working stuff on the other. So you want something that looks like this, where you can see both. Okay, make sure that you can see both if you're doing watch and do. Laura, did you ask how to split my screen? You could just resize that if you'd like, or if you have a tab that's open, I drag the tab, like the whole window, I drag it all the way to the side, and do you see how it kind of automatically happens? And I've got that like light, or I don't even know what color that would be. That blue box right there, if I let go, it'll automatically snap into place, and then it'll let me choose a different thing, or I can open another tab, or I can drag one of these tabs over there, or open another window. Okay, so I'm gonna keep mine full screen so you guys can see. But If you're my watch and do people, please make sure you've got split screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide. Yeah.
Oh, are you doing this part? You want me to do it?
Oh, no, you're doing it. Sorry, forgot.
Okay, so now that you know how you're going to interact with us, think about what you're going to do for your site. If you're going to watch and do, and you're going to do at the same time. So think about that now. We want to, again, kind of have you in that mindset of, I'm making the site for this purpose. Now, you can always just make a practice one. I have millions of practice sites that I just open and try stuff, and I end up they just sit there in my drive, or I delete them. So who's your audience? Do you want one for students only? Do you want it for families and students? We're going to show you some examples where they have different, portals that you can go to within. Are you going to link your classroom? Just remember that only students can access that. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll make it for parents and I'll link it for parents and they can just go to the classroom, it doesn't work like that. They cannot open anything that is in the classroom itself. Now, if it's a document that you've assigned for everyone to view, you could share that. And then how are you going to share it? Some people have it, and Becky mentioned some best practices before. She's very into branding. She's branded everything the same. So that's very consistent. So then she's got it everywhere. So think about how you're going to share it with families. And again, we just want to mention, if you make a site, it doesn't have to be redundant with Classroom. Everyone uses Google Classroom in different ways. I use it purely for assignments. I post assignments. That way I know when kids are done, they press turn in. That's it. That's all I don't put the notes in there. I don't put my videos in there. I don't put anything in there except the assignment that they're turning in. So my classroom's pretty bare bones that way. Everything else is on my site. That way, if a family member wants to sit down and help one of my students with their homework, and they can just pick up my video that's on my site and watch it and then help. That way it's not hidden somewhere in Classroom that no one else can access it. So think about how you're going to use it. And again, if you're like, wow, I can't even make that decision right now, totally fine. You don't have to make that decision right now. You can just make a practice one and play around with it and then make your real one later.
Okay, so we are actually going to set these up. Now, these slides have kind of a lot of information on them. We're not going to be staring at the slide the whole time because I am going to actually be doing this with you. So the slide is really a guide for you later that I'll sometimes bring back up, but not all the time. Okay, so we are going to first I want to take you to a website called sites.google.com. Okay, I'm only taking you here because I want to show you that you could, if you wanted, use a template. Google has these templates pre-made for Google Sites. I personally have never used one because they're brand new, but there is one for class, there's one for club, student portfolio, different things, and you can look at it. You could open it up and see all of them. So here are the education ones right up top. This is also the place that you could easily find all of your sites. So these are all the sites that I have created over the years, okay? But when I create a new site, I personally, if I'm not using a template, I don't like to start here. What I like to do instead is I like to go to my drive. So I want you to go ahead and open your drive, okay? And go to a folder that you want the site to live. Where are you planning this site for? So if my site was for algebra, I'm going to put it in this algebra folder, okay? Once you're in that folder, we're going to go to new, like we're making a document, and we're going to come down here to Google Site. Did I pass it? Yes, I did. There it is. Okay, so go to your Google Drive, my people who are watching and doing. We're going to the folder that we want. We're going to new, and then we're going to go find Google Site. You have to do, you do have to go to more for that. So once this loads, hey, I officially made a website, okay? You could play with this. Don't freak out that this is like viewable to the public and I have to make sure that everything is perfect. Right now, it's not published, first of all, so nobody can see it. Nobody can access it. I do have to publish it to make it searchable, which we will talk about in a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to name our site. So this one for me is just going to be my Practice Algebra 1 site, okay, or just Practice Algebra 1. Okay, do you notice that when I change this name right here, I am up here and I'm sorry, when I change this name, it automatically changed up here. Okay, this is the name of my website. Okay, and I'm on my home page right now. Okay, thumbs up. Are we still all cool? No. Monique, will you go ahead and tell?
I'm sorry, I'm in the Google Drive, but then I got lost, so I don't know
In the Google Drive, you press
could you show that again, Becky? Because I don't think everyone got that.
Yeah, you press new, and then you have some options here. You just go down to more, and Google Sites is one of the options. So thank you. Desiree, Bob, you see where I just did that? Can I get a yes, you're good now? Or you want to tell Melissa what the issue is? Cool, Bob. I'm glad you got it.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, good. We're all on track now. Okay,
I also put in the chat, sorry to interrupt you, Becky. We really do think it's best practice to go to the folder that you actually want to put it in. But anytime you want to start a new Google anything, you can just type like sites.new in the Omnibox or the address bar up top, and it will automatically open a new site for you. You can do docs.new, and it will automatically open a new doc for you. Now, the default is that it will go to your drive, so you might not be able to find it later. But if you're just like, I just need to pull this up real quick and I'll name it and I'll move it later, that's a really nice option.
Okay, so we are on my website. Remember, I named it up here. This is going to be the name of the website, and it's actually what it says in the folder. David, that's a great question. Why do we want to put it in a folder? Because I want the sharing permissions. This is a shared Algebra 1 folder, and it's shared with all my teammates who teach the same thing. So I want them to have edit access, and if I create it in the folder that I want it in, it will automatically be shared with these people. So I know all of my other personal accounts can get into it. I know Tokar can come in and access this later if I want them to, and Kravitz and Battle and Castor, everybody can get it. It also makes it so it's organized so I can find it later, because my Google Drive has a bazillion and 10 things in it. So if it's in the folder, I can find it so much easier. Okay. You can also, yes, Hans, you can always move the location, but personally, I think it's easier just to start it with the right location. Just like I would rather just tidy up my house now than clean the whole thing later. I would never want to clean my house, actually. That was a lie.
I was about to say, I think you're lying right now to a large group of people.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to pick a theme. Now, you don't get a lot of theme options, but you've got a couple, and the themes are right over here. So you could pick whatever theme you would like. I think I'm going to go with Diplomat today. Doesn't matter. Choose whatever you want. It slightly changes the font. And then you can also change the accent color while you're there. So font and accent color are the majority of it on the theme. And we're going to name our home page. Okay. So my home page is just going to say Algebra 1. Okay. So choose a theme. Choose a home page. And I have to look at my notes to see where I'm at next.
Becky, where did you find themes?
Right over here on the side, Bob, or I'm sorry, Lorna, it says insert pages or themes. So you just go ahead and you choose one of these. Any of these would work, and you just choose the color that goes with it. Okay.
Are you presenting your screen? All I see is Julie Soroka. Hi, Julie.
I am presenting my screen. You might have to go to the people and pin my presentation down. There's 2 Rebecca McDonalds, and my presentation is one of them. If you click on it, you should be able to pin it. Melissa, you might be able to talk more to that side just because I can't see the same thing.
Thanks, I got it. I had her pinned for something.
Okay, cool. We are going to publish it later, not just yet. Okay. You can't see. Oh, in this split screen. Okay, so you might not be able to split screen. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the theme and the home page. Now we can start embedding things. But actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and let's set up some pages that we can use. So we're just going to set up some bare bone pages. So we're going to press the Pages button over to the side. Okay, and just some things that we want to put in here. So why don't you guys throw in the chat, what do you think would be important to include on our Google site? Okay, calendar, syllabus. Contact info, goals. Resources, chapters, love it.
These are good suggestions. And again, Becky is just setting up those bare bones. So we don't even have anything on those sites. Those are just kind of holding places where eventually we'll put the syllabus, eventually we'll put the calendar. And we can always add sites later, or pages later, sorry. We don't have to do that now. But if we know kind of how you're going to set it up, it's nice to have that kind of pre-made so that when you go to put in your calendar, you've already got that ready to go.
And we can go and we can delete that. Maybe, you know what, instead of putting the calendar on its own page, I want to put it on the home page. I could just click these 3 buttons and delete it. It doesn't have to be there. So nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent at all. Feel free to play. This is a creative process.
Absolutely. And even after you publish, you can always change things. It does feel kind of like so official, you know, because, oh, it's public, but no one's randomly happening upon your site unless we're giving people links. They're so specific. So, you know, especially when you're just playing around right now, absolutely try things, make mistakes. You know, what does this do when I press this? What does this look like when I insert it here?
So I went ahead and I did that kind of quickly, but all I did was I went to the plus sign, new page. So when I click on this plus sign, it will automatically do a new page. Okay. So if you can go ahead and put in your bare bones. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, 30 whole seconds.
Wow, that's also remember,
thing.
you're not married to this order. You know, if she decides later that she really wants that student showcase to be right after the home screen, then she can just click on it and drag it up. So none of this is permanent. None of it is permanent. So don't feel like, oh, I might change that later. Okay, so change it later. It's totally fine.
Quick question.
Yep.
So if we do these pages, can we then put, like, could we do a page that says classes and then inside under that page have more pages? These aren't like, we can?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
totally. If I clicked on the resources and then went to new page, so this is my worked out solutions. Okay. Oh, it didn't go there. I could just drag it into that and it will be underneath it. So here on my resources, there's a worked out solutions page underneath it.
So if I do one page at this point for classes, then I can list my classes in there and kids can access them that way. Okay.
Totally. And if you do one website for your team, maybe it would be teachers and you could have each of the teachers have a separate thing. So it's totally up to you how you use this.
Right. Okay.
That was my question, Becky. Can we make one site for the environmental science team and then have breakout or subgroups or whatever you call it?
Yeah, totally. Right now, that biology team does have one Google site.
Right.
And then on the front, it just has each teacher's name, and you just click on the teacher, and the home page is the CHUH bio, but the sub pages are the individual teachers, and you can put as many pages under each sub page as you want.
Okay, because that's what I need help with.
Yeah. Okay. So Lorna, to do that, I could just write teachers, and I could say Strauth on here and make sure that Strauth goes under my teachers. I just dragged her name and put it under teachers. Okay, I'm going to delete some of these just so that it doesn't look so busy on my screen for you guys right now. Okay, and I could put McDonald under there too so that they could choose which teacher to go to. So now that we have that, I want to put some stuff on my site. I've got all these bare bones, but I have no content yet. So on home, okay, I can go ahead and I can go to the insert part and I can insert all kinds of things. I could insert a text box at the top and say, welcome to Algebra 1. Okay, I can write any content I want there. You don't have a lot of font options, but you've got this title option, headings, subheadings, small, and normal text. I almost always use heading for my stuff and subheading. Okay, so setting the heading and the subheading is what I most always use. You could do things like put in an image. Okay, so you can either upload the image. When you upload, what's going to happen is it's going to take me to my pictures on my computer. So this is all the stuff that—
Can you slow down a little bit? We're going real fast
Yes.
and moving your
I'm
screen a little
sorry.
bit. It's okay. We have a couple questions. Ms. Korb, did you want to jump in and ask your question about what she just did? Because I know you said that was so fast. I want to know how to do that. I don't know when that popped up and what Becky was doing at the time that you asked that.
Corb, you here?
Okay, so I don't know what you were just working on, if you were working on embedding things or inserting things.
Corb, we cannot hear you. I'm guessing your mic is muted. If you just want to type it in the chat, we can go from there.
Okay, we can circle back.
Okay, so let me go much slower. Okay, so were we all good on text? Did we understand how to put the text in? If anybody's a no, tell me a no in the chat so I know. Okay, I see no no's. So let's talk about other things you might embed. So something I like to embed in my site is I have a weekly calendar that the students can access and see exactly what's happening each time. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my drive. Okay, and my drive will pop up just like my normal drive does. So it's organized in the same fashion, or I can search. Okay, so I'm going to go to my algebra folder and I'm going to put in my student calendar. I'm going to embed it. Okay, so I have to go all the way into last year because I haven't made this year's student calendar on it yet. So
when you're doing this stuff, Becky, can you go just a hair slower?
yeah,
You know,
I'm sorry, Brett. I know.
Process.
I'm just going to my drive and I'm finding something I want to embed. It doesn't matter what it is. So I clicked drive and then I'm just searching for something to show you guys. Okay, so find anything in your drive you want to put on there. It truly doesn't matter what it is. It could be a doc, it could be a slide. Melissa, can it be a Jamboard?
Of course.
Of course. Okay. It could be sheets, it could be a form, it could be anything. So once you find it, I just double clicked it, or you could single click it and press the insert button. Okay, and I could even do two at a time. Maybe I want to insert both of these things. I click them both and I click insert, and they automatically come to the website. Okay, this is a slide, so it will automatically go in presentation mode. If I were to go to my drive and I wanted to put a doc in here, right, I just searched for the item that I wanted. I found it, so I could insert it. Laura, I didn't have to click embed for anything. I just went to insert and drive. This automatically embeds. Okay, the embedding is what's going to happen when you have your Google Calendar, your actual Google Calendar embedded. Okay. So I can embed, or I'm sorry, I can add anything from my drive into this. Anything at all. I could put a picture. Let's see. I have some Bitmoji saved, I think. This is a pretty awesome one, Melissa. Is that you?
Yes, that was me at one point. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. See, and it was in my drive because it lives in my drive and I just searched for it. Okay. I can also, what my personal favorite thing is sometimes it looks junky with like this right here is a Google Doc. And you can't see the whole Google Doc. Now, what kids will see, I'm going to jump a little bit. I want to know what kids could see. So I'm going to press this button right here. It said the preview button. It looks like a computer with a phone in front of it. Okay, if you click that, that's what anybody viewing the site would see. So I can see these things, and notice that this doc, it has a little scrolly bar within it. Do you see that? I don't love the scrolly bar, so I don't like to embed docs personally.
You're stealing my thunder, Becky. Just let you know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, you can do insert?
Can you do all, yeah, I'm doing, you're showing the preview, but we're asking, can you do that again? Can you show how you previewed it? Can you also show how you embedded something?
Yes. So I just went to Drive and I picked anything from my Drive, and when I select it and insert, it embeds. Okay. I didn't say this before, but you can just drag and drop these into different locations if you want them next to each other. So I can make Melissa riding her unicorn next to remote learning expectations. Okay. And the way I previewed is I went right up here to this preview button. When you hover, it says preview, and it's got a little computer with a little phone in front of it. I just click that and it automatically previews, and Melissa's going to talk to you more about the preview part in just a little bit. But I wanted to show you that the doc does not show the whole thing. You have to scroll to see the rest of it. Okay, to leave the preview at any point, you just press this X, this exit preview. Okay. So maybe instead of putting this on here, I instead want to hyperlink the text. So I want to kind of make a button per se. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a text box. And instead of putting this whole thing, I'm just going to write the name of it. And I am going to insert the link. This will hyperlink it so that when someone touches on this, clicks on this, they will jump to that page. So I could press this insert link, and I would put the URL right there. So I could copy the URL and paste it there. Okay, so I'm putting the URL right there. So now this is a hyperlinked thing, and they can click on it and they could open it when they're viewing it. Now, like we said, anything can be put on, anything can be taken off. So if I don't like this anymore and I want to get rid of it, if I just click on it, I delete it. The trash can will delete it. Okay. You can go to Google Classrooms and take the assignment link, and you can link it onto your Google sites, but only students can access them that are in your class. So if the student's not in your class, it's just going to give you an error message. Okay. Did I see somebody talk about a video? Yes? I think so.
Yes.
So if I wanted to put a YouTube video in, so
I'm going to give you about 60 more seconds for your section, Becky.
Okay. So I don't care what it is. I'm going to grab this YouTube video. I just copy the hyperlink. Okay. And as soon as I have that hyperlink copied, I come back to my site, and this is where we're going to use the embed feature. Now, when you embed, you do have two options. You have URL or embed code. I almost never use the embed code. I just go ahead and I put the YouTube link on there. Students will be able to see YouTube. Yeah. And there we go. It's embedded in my site. When kids go to it, they can click on it and they could play it straight from the site and don't have to go out to YouTube to get to this video. I know I gave you a ton of information.
Okay, so if you have more questions, she'll answer those questions in the chat, but also, you know, you can email us and contact us, or the video is being recorded and it will be posted on that checklist document that Dr. Bauer sent. I'm going to just talk about a couple more things, Becky, if you can. I'm going to present over you. The videos can be in your own drive, that is true, but we really 100% recommend using YouTube. And actually, we're going to talk a lot about that in our next video or our next session at 3 o'clock. We're doing video tools, and we're going to talk about the benefits of YouTube and why we recommend that. So I'm just going to talk about real quickly, because we want to kind of wrap up at 2:55, because we want to make sure you have a moment to like take a deep breath. So we want you to keep in mind that there are users on the other end of this. Obviously, you're most likely not making this for your own personal organization and benefit. So what I like to do, and this is a site that we have made for remote learning resources for the district now. Last year it was just for the high school, but we've expanded it. And there is this little icon up top that says preview, and it looks like a computer and a little like cell phone. If you touch it, it will show you what it looks like to a viewer. And the nice thing I love about this is that on the bottom right corner, you have the option of viewing it on a large screen like you would be like on a laptop. Or if someone, you know that all of your students are probably doing it from their cell phones, or families are looking at it from their cell phones. This is what my site looks like from the cell phone. So you can see what Becky actually made these buttons. You can see how it's very clean, and you just see one at a time, and they're all hyperlinks. I can click on them and they take you somewhere else. If they're using a tablet, you can see what the view looks like there. So I love this preview. So if you're concerned, like, what's this going to look like? It's a really great idea to check it beforehand. That's our preview. We wanted to show you that. Definitely check, see how it's made. Becky, did you tell them how to publish? Do you want to do that with your new site?
Sure. So on my site, up in the corner, it says publish. And the first time you do it, oh, I'm not showing you my site. So we've got this blue publish button up in the top right corner of your site. Okay. The very first time you press this, it's going to have you put in what you want the end of the URL for your site to be. So all sites at CHUH start sites.google.com/chuh.org/ and then you get to pick the ending part. So you can make it anything. It will automatically go with whatever you named your site originally, but I could change this. Maybe I just want it to be practice Alg 1. Okay, so it could be whatever you prefer. Okay. Here it says who can view my site. So right now, only CHUH people can view it. So this is not helpful to me if I want my families on this website. I always change this. I press the manage button. Okay. And then down here, here, hold on. I'm going to do those steps again because I know I did it fast. I press the manage. And it's just like a Google Doc. Down here it says links vary, and I'm going to change that. Okay, and I want the published site, instead of going to CHUH district, I want it to come down here and I want it to go to public. You always want to do it to public if you are asking people to access it outside of school, because so many kids have personal devices and they might be logged onto their personal account, and then they'll get an error message when you try to send them to it. So I change it to public. Okay, and then done. Okay, now I can see that anyone can view my site. Okay, and I could choose whether I want it in public search engines or not. I always just put it in the public search engines, because if somebody really wants to Google it, great. Okay, the default for some reason was CHUH on, so I'm not quite sure why. Okay, now I'm going to publish it, and my site is official now. So I could come over here by the publish button. Do you see how there's a little drop down arrow now because it's published? I can come over here and I can view my published site. So this is the actual link I could send to people to access my site. This is the link I could go to tinyurl and make a better website name from. I could unpublish it. Okay. And I could do different things right here. Now, the big thing to know is my site in the public realm is going to stay this way. If I go ahead and I say, nope, this is now an Algebra 2 site, they're not going to see that change. The only way for them to see my change is to press publish again. Okay, and do you see it? This is new this year-ish. Now you have to see what changes it made. So it'll tell you that currently it says Algebra 1. I'm going to change it to Algebra 2, and I have to press publish one more time. Okay, don't be afraid to publish. Seriously, it's like a Google Doc. I just publish it every little bit, and I continuously do that. When you publish, it will change everything. So if you change a sub page and you change the home page, it'll do all of that stuff in one shot. So it's not like you have to hit publish multiple times. Okay. You can also work on this slowly. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once. I build my website throughout the year because I add things as we do them. I add sub pages all the time as I'm doing it.
All right, so we want to wrap up. I know this was a lot of information at the same time, but this is being recorded, so you can go back or you can always reach out to us. I did want to show you that in the presentation, we do have some examples linked, and we have a celebrity amongst us, Miss Monroe, who has been answering questions very nicely in our chat. Thank you for your support. We have linked her site, which, by the way, is super cute. How cute is this? Like, seriously, I want.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah,
Yes.
I kind of want to just take it and make it my own. So we have a couple other ones in here as well. So if you want to look at some good examples that we've kind of curated for you, it's helpful to do that. And the last thing that we want to let you know about is that we are offering Appy Hour starting next week. Appy Hour. I know it's super cheesy, but we know people have a lot of questions. And as we ramp up and get ready for kids on Wednesday, you might have more. And instead of emailing your tech coach or trying to set up a one-on-one and you know this is coming, we are available. The tech coaches will be available from 4 to 5 on all next week. And at CHUH Tech, that is the code that we've been using. So please, if you have a tech question, you know, anytime next week, and you're like, oh man, how do I even explain this? Come to the meet. You can present your screen to us. We can walk you through things. If you have any kind of questions, we're happy to help you in that way. So instead of trying to communicate it through email or something else, this is a lot easier. You know we'll be available. We'll also be available every Tuesday after that. So we know this is a very anxious time, and that this is a new way of doing things. And we want it to be the best for you and your students, especially because some of them are my children. So, and Becky's. And so any support that we can give you, know that minimally we will be available from 4 to 5 every day next week. We're also reachable via email. We are the tech coaches for the high school. We have a couple tech coaches on the meet with us right now, and they're all awesome. And you can reach your own tech coach as well. So happy to help. You've got about 2 minutes to take a stretch break. And if you're going to go to a 3 o'clock, then now is the time to do that, Becky. I'm going to go over there right now.
So you've got me for 2 minutes before I'm going to go talk about video tools. Does anybody have a quick question that I did not give you?
Quick one, Becky.
Yep,
So
Brett.
I'm working on one, you know, kind of thinking that eventually this will be something I would use. I know Dan's working on one. Once we both kind of have our, I guess, our website, can we then like create like a master site? Like, how do you go? Did we do it?
If you're doing it that route, that's fine. I would create one master site, and then I would just have a link, you know, Brett's site, Dan's site on there. So I would just have a link to your other site. So they're not going to be sub pages, but we could just link right on there.
So the thing is, like, what I've done now should really be created inside that master site.
It truly doesn't matter. Your way of doing it is cool. Seriously, it's great. We could just create, you're just not going to want to make your own tiny URL just for your site. You're going to make one for the master site, and then they'll access yours through there. You're just going to have to make sure you publish all 3 instead of just one. That's the only difference.
Oh, I see.
But it's totally doable. It is not hard, Brett. It's one button extra that you have to press. Sandra, Canva is free for teachers. Yes, there is a Teacher Pro account. It is in the advanced Google form. If you follow that route, it will take you there. I highly, highly, highly recommend you sign up for Canva. Okay, and I have to go. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.